Hello, boys and girls. Miss Jen is back with our reading lesson, and today we are going to finish up reading the story that we started reading yesterday, A Special Welcome. Okay, so before we dive into the second part of the story, why don't we go over the vocabulary words we talked about yesterday? Do you guys remember how to say grandmother in Spanish? Yes. Here. Abuela, right? Abuela. That was how you say grandma in Spanish. Because Marta's family, excuse me, has Spanish background, family background. So Marta is calling her granny Abuela. And so the grandpa doesn't really show up in the story, but we thought we'd learn how to say grandpa in Spanish as well. And so grandfather in Spanish was abuelo. Abuela, abuelo. Yeah. And also, remember how grandma asked Marta to dust the room and to clean the baby's things because they want to make sure the baby's things are all clean before the baby arrives. So she gave her a rag, and rag was a piece of cloth, right? Piece of cloth to wipe things off. And they also had baby crib, right? And it's a bed for babies, baby crib. And also, remember towards the end of the first part of the story, Marta, she went to get her stuffed bunny, Muff, right? And she was thinking about whether she should give it away to the baby or to just keep it to herself. At last, she decided to give it away to her baby sibling because she thought the baby would love to cuddle with Muff's silky fur, right? And cuddle is to hug. It's a way of showing love to another person or a thing. Yeah. So she decided to give it away to the newborn baby. Yeah. All right. So let's continue with the second part of this story. And what is the chapter title, you guys? Or the unit title? Right. Meeting the baby. They are going to finally meet the baby. Okay, here you go. The phone rang. Marta heard Grandma say, "Thank the Lord, I am so glad." Marta smiled at Carlos. Carlos grabbed Susita's hand. They ran to Grandma. "Is the baby born?" asked Carlos. Grandma held the phone so they could hear. "Marta? Carlos? Susita? You have a little brother named Pedro," Papa said over the phone. "Mama and baby are fine." Oh, so the baby is born. And what, is it a boy or girl? Yes, it's a boy. And what's his name? Yes, Pedro. Oh, how nice. Susita clapped her hands. Carlos hopped. Marta smiled. So are they all very excited? Yes, they are very, very, very excited because they run to grandma and ask if the baby has been born. And when they heard that the baby is born, they are clapping and hopping and smiling. So they are very, very excited. "When can we see him?" asked Marta. "Abuelo and Abuela will bring you after supper," said Papa. Oh, so they are going with their grandpa and grandma after their meal. Yeah, to go see Pedro and Mama. Look how excited they are. And look at Susita's face. So happy and excited. It was hard to wait. Marta and Carlos could not eat much supper. Why? Why were they not able to eat much supper? Yeah, because they're too excited about seeing the baby. Yeah. Susita made up a tune. Baby is here, baby is here. I don't know if that's the correct tune, but she sang. At last, Grandpa drove them to the hospital. What is Grandpa in Spanish? Yes, abuelo. Mama was sitting up in bed. She held a little bundle in a blue blanket. Pedro is sleeping, she said. Would you like to peek? I mean, would you like to see him a little bit? Marta, Carlos, and Susita gazed at the tiny face. Oh, hi, little brother, said Marta. The baby wiggled and lifted his hand a little. I think he's waving at us, said Carlos. Mama and Papa left. He's opening his eyes, said Grandma. I think he's waking up. There is little Pedro, and everyone is looking at his tiny little face. Yeah? Okay. And what does baby Pedro do as the children are looking at him? What does he do? Yeah, he's wiggling and lifting his hand a little. So they think Pedro is waving at them, and maybe he is. Okay. Moving on to the next page. Mama, will you put Pedro in my arms? Asked Marta. Mama smiled. Yes, sit here in the rocker. Remember rocker, the rocking chair that moves back and forth? Marta held a blue bundle. Pedro, I want to tell you some things, she said. You have some nice things waiting for you at home. You have a sunny window and a clean crib. You have a nice mama and papa. You have a sweet abuela and abuelo. You have two sisters named Marta and Susita. You have a big brother named Carlos. And you have a bunny named Muff. Oh, how sweet is that? Marta is holding Pedro in her arms and telling him everything that he needs to know and all the nice and wonderful things that is waiting and that are waiting for Pedro at home. Oh, that is so nice. Have you ever held a newborn baby, you guys? Oh, yeah, some of you have, some of you haven't. Miss Jin remembers holding a newborn baby as well. My brother is a lot younger than I am. He's 12 years younger than I am. So I remember me holding my baby brother when he came home from the hospital. And I was so nervous that I might like drop him or something. So I was so nervous to hold him in my arms. But there are some ways that you need to be careful when holding a newborn baby, right? You would have to like support the baby's neck because the baby's neck muscles are not strong enough for the baby to hold its own head up, right? So like Susita is doing, when you're holding a newborn baby, you will have to support the baby's neck, yeah, to help him to put his head up. Yeah. So that was a little nice conversation between Marta and Pedro. And next page. But Marta, Muff is your bunny, said Mama. No, said Marta. I gave him to Pedro. He will need him more than I do. Mama put her hand on Marta's. That was sweet of you, she said. I think Pedro will like Muff. Pedro has a little smile on his face, said Carlos. See, he is thinking of Muff. Marta giggled. Pedro likes his gift, she said. Oh, so Mama is very proud of Marta because Marta gave away her favorite toy, stuffed bunny Muff, to her baby brother. And Marta is also very happy and proud of herself because she thinks Pedro likes the gift. That is very nice All right. So, guys, couple questions to review. Why does Marta give muff to Pedro? If you guys read through the story with Miss Jen, you should know, why does Marta give muff to Pedro? Yeah, because she thinks Pedro will need muff more than she does, so that Pedro can cuddle with Muff. Yeah. And why does Carlos think Pedro is smiling? Yeah, because Pedro is probably, perhaps, thinking of Muff. And maybe that's why he's smiling. Yeah. Okay, guys, that is the end of the story. A special welcome. And now we are going to move on to our work text. Let's talk about this together. So again, if you guys would like to work on this on your own, you can go ahead and do that. Pause this video and then come back to continue to watch the video to check the answers with Miss Jin. Yeah. All right. Number the sentences in story order. Okay. Which one is the very first thing that happened in the story? Let's see. Grandpa drove Grandma, Marta, Susita, and Carlos to the hospital. That happened at the end of the story. Marta held Pedro in her arms. Papa and Mama went to the hospital. Marta put Muff in the baby's crib. Right. Papa and Mama went to the hospital, right? Number one. And while they were gone, Marta decided to give away her stuffed bunny to the baby. So she put Muff in the baby's crib. So number two over here. And then the rest of the family, they all went to the hospital when they heard the good news, right? So Grandpa drove everyone to the hospital. Number three. And when they got to the hospital, Marta got to, hold Pedro in her arms. That's number four. So it's going to be 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, now circle the correct word to complete each sentence. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this part together. The phone rang. Marta heard Grandma say, "Thank the Lord, I am so glad." Grandma was sad, thankful, mad. Of course she was thankful, right? Go ahead and circle this one. Moving on to the second one over here. You have a little brother, said Papa. Susita clapped. Carlos hopped. Marta smiled. The children were happy, upset, sad. They were very happy. It was hard to wait. Marta and Carlos could not eat much supper. Marta and Carlos were loving, upset, excited. Yeah, they were so excited, and that made them not to eat so much of their meal, right? Because they're so excited. Has this ever happened to you? You're so excited about something that you can't really eat much of your food. I think Miss Jin had an experience like this. It normally happened to me the night before like the field trip, because I was so excited and looking forward to going to the field trip. I can't really eat much of my supper the night before of the field trip. And so, yeah, I remember this happening to me. Yeah, so think about when, if you ever had an experience like this, think about it and you can share with us on Friday, maybe. Yeah. I gave Muff to Pedro, said Marta. He will need it more than I do. Marta was selfish, loving, mad. So selfish is, if we say somebody is selfish, that means he or she is thinking about only herself or himself, right? But Marta was thinking about another person more than herself, right? So she was very loving, yeah, to give away her favorite toy, Muff. All right, so when you're done with the first page, you are going to move on to the second page, time to nap.